Welcome to Did She Just Really Say That? The podcast episode that's changing the way we talk about business as women. Because let's be honest, we as women are changing and shifting what we've been taught around the business world, how it's affecting us both mentally and physically, the stress we're enduring in this process. So, this episode is really for all my women out there that have experienced burnout, maybe are going through it themselves, or don't even know what burnout actually looks like. So I'm excited because we're having this amazing conversation today with Elisa. Is it Elisa? That's correct. So making sure I'm just pronouncing everyone's name right. So Elisa's going to be talking to us today about this conversation. It's going to be really interesting. So I want you to listen in and just, come join this journey with us, right? So Elisa empowers professionals and entrepreneurial women to overcome burnout, stress, anxiety, and overwhelm by addressing the root cause of their challenges. And this is something that often as I talk with women, we ignore. We kind of suppress this. Now, what makes Elisa really interesting is she has a background in human resources in the corporate world. And during her personal journey, she struggled with burnout. She had high anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia. Is this ringing any bells for any of my women out there? So, really, right now, her mission, as she's left the corporate world and really brought her experience into the entrepreneurial and professional world, is to guide women towards emotional freedom and give them support as they reclaim your sense of purpose. Women, this is something we really need in our lives. So I love this because her unique approach as a human resource and her experience around that really looks at the whole person. So human resource people are pretty intuitive on their own, and her goal is to really help clients uncover those root issues, right? So if you find that you're exhausted, if you find that things are deteriorating your health, you really want to talk to Elisa because this is what she's going to share with us. And this gives you somebody to go talk to, right? She has an extensive background in academia. She's got a bachelor's of science, a master's degree. You can read about all this inside the show notes of what she's done. She's got certifications. She does energy psychology practitioner. She's a professional life success coach. She's a yoga instructor. She is absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited that we're having this conversation on Did She Really Say That? Because we don't talk about burnout. We just let it go. So, welcome to this episode, and thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me and our audience here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Katrina. It's my pleasure to be here with you and your audience.
So, let's talk about your journey. Let's get a little bit of sense. Now, I know I read a little bit about this, but talk to me about that whole burnout and what that was like for you in that corporate space.
Well, first of all, I didn't know I had burned out. I found out when I was already going through probably the end of the stage of burnt out because there are actually 5 stages you go through according to research and the information that it's out there. So that's one thing that sometimes we don't even know.
Mm.
And it's not necessarily just feeling exhausted. There can be any other symptoms that we ignore. And it's important to detect them early on so they don't become chronic. So for me, I was highly stressed. I always had this pressure in my chest. Sometimes I felt like maybe there is something wrong with my heart. I need to get checked. And I would go to a doctor and everything would come out normal. All my blood work, all my physical tests, everything was normal. But I still felt shortness of breath, like palpitations, and I couldn't really relax. And it got worse and worse until I couldn't really have a full night's sleep. And then I started getting panic attacks. And every time I would go to a doctor, it would be the same story. Your blood work, it's normal. You are okay. So
But you're
it
like,
was
I'm not okay. Something is
no,
going on,
so
and I don't know. And honestly, Elisa, what it's interesting is as I continue, and you, as women are listening to this podcast, you're going to hear this as a reoccurring theme with a lot of women. Like they all go through this high anxiety, stress, burnout. And I think that's why this conversation is so important because getting this awareness that women are burning out and we are burning out faster than the men. The men do experience burnout, but there is a faster rate of burnout for women than really at any other time. And I think it's a blend of a lot of different things you're going to hear in this entire season for season 3 on Did She Really Say That? You're going to hear a lot of different ways that this shows up. So, yeah, keep talking about this. So, you're burned out, you're going through this. Doctors are saying everything's okay. What happens
Yes.
next?
And then what's happening is I'm being prescribed. I'm being prescribed medication for anxiety, for depression, and just that. And that's not really helping. And at the same time, I'm not really accepting the medication. I'm like, I don't really want to take this. Okay, I'm gonna give it a try, but every time I would go, my symptoms continue to be the same or worse. So
Hmm.
I didn't really see progress. And so it was like I was in this like vicious kind of loop where I wasn't going anywhere. And it was very frustrating because I felt like I was alone in this whole journey. Until one day, when I went to my specialist, she just told me, like, I don't know what else to try with you. Then again, increase your medication. And I remember being in the parking lot, so disappointed, so sad, so frustrated, and just thinking, okay, is this like a life sentence? Am I gonna be on medication and just increasing my dosage and that's it? And so at that point, it was like a decision that I had to make. Okay, I have to do something about it. I'm not gonna depend only on medication. I feel like this is deeper, it's deeper work, something that I have to probably do. Uh, I don't know how, but that's when I started doing more research. It was a long journey trying to look for different alternatives. Uh, I tried a lot of different things until finally I think I found what resonated with me.
Mhm.
And what really resonated were practices that helped me regulate my nervous system.
Yeah.
So I started meditation, I started with yoga, I started with Reiki, things like that, little by little. And I would just think like, I would dream, when would I feel like normal again? Oh,
Mhm.
when will that day come? And honestly, that day didn't come like I dreamt of that day because it's never gonna be the same.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I got to accept. Not that things got worse, actually, things got even better than before. And so that was interesting to experience. And also, it's a journey. I had this like dream that just somebody would come and save me, and I will never suffer again. And no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think what you pointed to in this conversation so far is, oftentimes what we experience as women is we're told we're imagining things that's not really going on with us. And I think in a lot of respects, the medical industry itself it's a practice, right? So it's a medical practice. We as women have the least amount of experience with our complexity of our bodies of really being diagnosed. So we get things like anxiety medication, depression medication, thinking that's what we're dealing with. But as you've talked about, there's a root cause. There's something else that's actually going on. And I think as women, I love what you're sharing is that sometimes you have to do the meditation. It might seem like it's not something you can quiet your mind around, but there's this journey of like quieting your mind, quieting your body. And as women, we are such in a fight or flight state so often, even in the workforce, trying to prove ourselves, trying to get the seat at the table, trying to do more because we're still don't feel like we've done enough, right? Like we have different status quos between men and women still to this day, where like we could over deliver and it still doesn't feel like we've done enough, right? And so we're constantly striving to do more, but that's not helping us. it's starting to cause a physical bodily reaction. And then it's like, okay, now I got to start paying attention to my body because something else is going on. And you said, sitting in the car, am I going to be medicated for the rest of my life? And that thought, even to me, would scare the shit out of me. Right. So thank you for being so transparent in this conversation because it is something I think we as women need to be talking more about and learning from each other and giving ourselves different, more holistic ways to approach what we're doing. So let's dive into some of the signs. You talked about some of the hidden signs of burnout, some things that we may not recognize, and you were towards the end. So what do we need to be aware of as women around what does burnout look like? What are some of those precursors we can start looking for?
Any kind of misalignment, meaning like when you start experiencing stomach issues, for example, when you start getting a lot of headaches
Mhm.
or physical tension, like always like having this back pain or neck pain or a lot of tightness in your body. Those are early symptoms. Your body's talking to you. And so we sometimes ignore it and we just take a Tylenol. Oh no, it's just a headache. I'm just tired. Okay, if you're tired, then why don't you take a break and, let your body recover? Or sometimes we are dehydrated. We're not drinking enough water, and that's why we have a headache. But we decide to, take a pill to help us with that. So those are the body again, it's talking. It's talking to us. And I think it is really important to pay to everything that our body is telling us on a daily basis. And so that's what I learned in my own process, listening to my own body and not going against my body, understanding myself more and more. And also during this journey, I actually put a name to my own personality type. I'm highly sensitive personality. So before I didn't know what that was. I heard about empath. I heard about sensitive people and I saw it as something bad or like maybe weak, like, oh, you're so sensitive, right? And now it makes much more sense to me and I don't see it as a weakness. Actually, I see it as a superpower. Because I got to understand what are my strengths being that way.
Mhm.
And so I know that I have to work in certain ways and give myself that permission. So yeah, it's been a discovery journey for sure.
Is this, I mean, was part of this what had you like leave corporate space and really start designing and building your own business because you started listening to your body more?
In a way, but I also think I left corporate because it was meant to be. I
Mhm.
actually was forced to. It wasn't really a decision that I made. It was just that my job didn't work out at that point and I left. I was still looking for a job, but in that search, I ended up going back to school because there was such a good opportunity for me. And I decided, you know what, this is so good that I really want to bring this to the world. And it will make me so happy if I can have my own business and just do this from the outside, like not necessarily being in a corporate job. Not that I'm against that, and maybe in the future I go back, I don't know. But like being able to go back and bring the programs from my own place, like having that flexibility, yes, it's something that I am enjoying right now.
And you're lit up about it. Like you're truly a light in this joy and thinking, and because one of the things that came up to me is you were saying, like, if I do go back to corporate, I was like, yeah, you get to bring, at least it gets to bring all this that she's learned into these environments. And I think that's also critical too, right? At some point, as we start developing and start learning about ourselves as women, and what that empathy, that sensitivity is such a superpower, like you talk about. It is such a gift from God in the universe to have that and to be able to bring it into these rigid corporate spaces. I think as slowly it's starting to get recognized just how important women are. in these spaces because we bring that to the table, because otherwise we're just creating robots and it's not any fun, right? So as a woman, did you have any, like, as you're making this transition from your health, you're starting to get into Reiki, like, were there any like, did you have like, this isn't going to work, this is woo woo, this is silly, like, did you have any moments kind of like where you're battling yourself as you're kind of going down this more, homeopathic way of taking care of yourself?
I was open. I tried many things because of that desperation at the beginning. So I remember even a friend from work, she recommended somebody she was seeing, and this person was traveling, and I wasn't gonna be able to see her like in 2 months. And I was so excited to see her like 2 months later. But I learned also to be patient and to start also trusting myself because I
Mhm.
was trusting more in others. Um, I've tried a lot of things, but if you ask me like what was the thing that really helped you and resonated was actually EFT tapping. So that's one of the practices that I incorporate in my coaching, and it's one that it brings a lot of the things that I've tried before, and it's what really gave me a faster relief and like really helped me go even deeper and to it's because it's a combination not only of it's a somatic practice, but it also digs into psychology. So it's um, very comprehensive. It has a lot of components that to me has worked very, very well. And also I've seen changes, like very quick changes and lasting changes to the people that I've worked with. So, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about tapping. For those that are listening in that may have never heard of this phrase or they're still unsure of it, maybe somebody mentioned it in passing. Can we dive a little bit more into what is that? What is it?
So EFT, it
Okay.
stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And sometimes you hear technique, but it's actually a number of different techniques that we use. Actually, it's, I believe, 48 techniques, if I remember correctly. And these techniques, well, it's very basic when you see it because it's actually tapping on acupressure points in the body, mostly in the upper body. And there are 9 of them that you use in what they call the basic recipe. So essentially, when you tap on these pressure points, you are sending a calm signal to the amygdala in the brain. So you are interrupting the fight or flight response. So just doing that and breathing, it's already a practice that it is very potent, I will say. It's very effective. You don't even have to incorporate words yet. But if you add words to it, meaning how you are feeling, and you really tell the truth about what's going on, that allows your nervous system to trust the process and eventually go even deeper on what's going on, like even going deeper and reaching the root of the issue. So that's what I love about this technique. It's not like talk therapy where you just sit and talk about your problem. In a way, somehow you do, but you are releasing whatever is going on because you're using your body to help you process what's happening behind the scenes. So that's why it's like combination of somatic practice with psychology.
So you're basically, you're literally tapping into the nervous system
Yes.
through. So you talked about the 9 points. I know that we're on, some of you guys are going to be able to see the video, some of you aren't. So can you kind of walk me through the 9 pieces, like the nine, like just point it out so we can kind of get a
Yes.
sense of, and do
Yes.
we tap a lot? Like, is it
No, not
like
hard.
is
There are people that are more sensible than other, and you can just hold the point. So, for example, the first point is the side of the hand.
is it the right hand or left hand?
Any hand,
It
right
doesn't
or left.
matter.
Yes, because these points, these are meridian points in the body. So this goes back to Chinese medicine.
Okay.
and they run the same way in both side of the body. So it doesn't
Okay.
matter if you do one side or the other.
Okay.
And there are some points that you can tap on one point or the 2 points. So I'll show you. The first
Okay.
one is the side of the hand, and it's actually every point is connected to a organ in the body.
The side of
And
the hand is?
the end of the hand is connected to the small intestine. So
Is it
here,
two fingers, one? Hold, I'm asking for all my viewers. Is it one finger, two fingers, whole hand?
you
How do
can
you
use
tap?
four fingers.
Four fingers.
So
Okay.
you tap like this, or you can hold the point.
Oh,
Yes, and you just test it and see how it feels for you. Some people like to put a little bit more pressure, tap a little bit faster. I like to play with it. If you
okay.
do it slower, it's like, okay, you're sending this message to slow down. You're telling your nervous system, it's okay, we can slow down, we can take it easy.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
And here we create actually a setup statement. So if we're using words, we're actually here going to create a phrase.
Okay.
And the phrase, it's gonna have two parts. The first part, it's telling the truth about the problem.
Okay.
So it's not affirmations. We're not in affirmations yet. We'll get there, but
This is what
one,
she's going to help you deal with later when you start working with her. But we're demoing this out here on this podcast. So let's do this. Okay.
yeah. And so it will look something like this. Even though I'm stressed right now, or even though I'm having this headache or this tension in my body, in this moment, I am breathing, or in this moment, I am safe, or in this moment, I have compassion for the way I'm feeling. Like
Mm.
you would have to complete it with a sentence that makes sense to you. If you see some of like the YouTube videos or the traditional way that they do it, they would say something like, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. But sometimes that's not the case. And that may sound like, it's like so.
Yeah, because it's not talking to you're not having that real self conversation with yourself. Because what part of what tapping is, my understanding is it's self-regulating for you. So it's
Yeah.
whatever your body's feeling, whatever is coming up for you. So you're addressing that with your own body, not necessarily what the I feel great in love and I'm so excited about myself kind of a thing. Yes.
No, you can say, and this is how I'm feeling right now. It
Yeah.
sucks. You know?
So
And
tell the truth. That's really what you're
tell the
doing for.
truth.
Tell the
That's the
truth.
first thing. And it's exposing. So this is exposure therapy. So that's why it's telling the truth. And then the cognitive part of it, it's like some kind of reassuring yourself of, where you're at without sugarcoating things, without having to be, you don't have to be positive or too like, too out there. All
Oh,
right.
interesting, because I switched hands over here for those that aren't watching this. I actually just switched hands and I got a totally different sensation through my body just by
Uh-huh.
tapping over here. I was like, oh, well, that's a different feeling. So I could see, yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
And the other interesting thing is that if you think about the small intestine, the function of it is to separate your nutrients. So whatever serves you, it will be sent to your bloodstream. And whatever doesn't serve you, it will be sent for elimination. So when you're doing this in an emotional, energetic way, that's what
Right.
you're doing. You are, you have, okay, let's say you ate something and this is where you're at. You're not feeling very well. Okay, now let's just absorb what's serving
What
me
I
and
need.
just
Yep.
letting go what doesn't.
Okay. I
Okay.
like that. So the
Uh,
side of the hand, where else? Let's do like two more
so
just to kind of give
okay,
a
so
teaser for
then
this.
I'll run you through the points quickly because the
Okay.
other points, it's just you repeat the reminder phrases. So it would be something like distress and distress or whatever it's going on, you talk about it. So the second point is the crown of the head. So
Okay.
actually, the way you find it is you put your thumb on your ears and then you bring your middle finger at the top, and that's where the point is. So it's
Yeah.
that soft area where you were when you were a baby. So right there.
Interesting. Okay, so that's right. That's where you're tapping. Because
Yes.
I never figured out where you could tap on your head. Everyone was because like everyone's hand size and head is differently. Okay. And again, four fingers?
Yes, four
Okay.
fingers. Then the next point is the eyebrow point. So right where the eyebrow begin, and you
Okay.
can two fingers.
Two fingers.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then the next point is right by the side of the eyes, not by the temple, but right next to the eyes.
Okay.
But make sure you don't poke your eye,
Don't
okay?
pull your eyes. And we're doing a two finger tap on that one too?
Yes, two
Okay.
fingers. And then under the eyes, so right on the bone, right
Okay. Yep.
under
Right
the
there.
eye. So align with your pupil, and you can use the two fingers too. And actually, this is where the stomach meridian starts. So
Oh.
whenever you're feeling anxious, scared, nervous, this is a great
Ooh,
point.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So we
then
got
on
the
the
eye. So anxious and
nose,
nervousness. It's
yeah.
tied to the stomach. That is so cool.
And then under the nose,
Okay.
yeah. And then the next point is under the mouth by the chin, where the
Okay.
chin
That
begins.
little dimple area between the chin and
Yes,
the bottom lip.
exactly.
Okay.
That little dimple area. Yeah. And then we move to the collarbone point. So the way to find that it's find your collarbones and
Okay.
see how you have like this little hole here. So
Yes.
it's right below that in like the tender area and
Okay.
just up there. And this is connected to the kidneys. So it's yeah, also you whenever you feel anxious, your breath is constricted, uh, you feel that nervousness, you can always stop here and take deep breath. It will help you regulate your breath. It will help you just feel more grounded.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last point for this basic recipe, it's right under the arm. Well, like for
I
this.
gotta lift my arm. Okay, we're lifting the arm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just showing you. So it's for the lady, it's right. An easy way to remember it's below the brow line. So
Ah, okay.
we can do one side or we can hug ourselves.
Oh, I like hugging myself. So right
Yes.
below so it's like on the side, on top of the rib, if I'm feeling where I'm at, just
Yes.
underneath the bra strap.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Correct. The brow trap.
And then what is this connected to?
This is connected to many things. It brings you a sense of peace, a sense of relaxation, and not necessarily a particular organ because there are other like energy centers, and so not a particular one, like for example the stomach or like the this is the bladder meridian, the gallbladder. So yes, like, but there is one more that it's not included in the basic recipe, but I like to use it. It's under the chest right here, and this is connected to the liver. So
Okay.
it's great for detoxing, not only the physical toxins, but the emotional toxins. So whenever you're feeling angry, you're feeling rage and very frustrated, this is a great point to tap on.
Ah, I feel like that's probably like underneath the bra for women, just kind of a little bit down,
Yes,
like just at the start of the rib cage where you kind of start
yes.
going in. Okay.
Correct.
You know, the beautiful thing about being a woman is that we can tell you touch points based on where your bra is
Yes,
at. So I think
correct.
that's one of the cool pieces around
Yes.
this conversation.
Yes.
I love it. Hey, we have to know our touch points.
Of course.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you for doing that with me because I think you really explained it. Even for those that are listening, you're probably going to want to go find the video now. So whether you're coming and watching this on your favorite podcast streaming platform or you're heading over to YouTube, you definitely want to see Elisa do this again because it's really, I think a lot of times we hear it, but to see you actually kind of just talk about it a little bit. And I know there's so much like, listen, ladies, she gave you like a tip of the iceberg, right? There's so much more belief beneath that. But I think in this sense, it's just, it's getting into it because your nervous system is a big part of that, right? So healing, especially for your journey, has been around just self-regulating your nervous system. So how does the nervous system, I know we touched upon it, but what do you know about how it plays into burnout? So is the nervous system really tied to how we experience burnout? Your eyes just got really big, so I'm going to say yes.
Totally, yes, because it's like it's imagine alarm, fire alarm, always on. So that's pretty much what's happening when you are in this fight or flight response and freeze, fun, there are other pieces of it. And so if we learn to regulate our nervous system, to let it know that there is no threat and that we are safe, then of course we will experience many other benefits that go along with it. And again, it's not, there is nothing wrong with you and your nervous system. It's just that the nervous system is doing its job, that it's protecting you
Yeah.
and keeping you safe. So that's why it's acting this way, because it sense that there is some kind of danger. And so we have to retrain it and let it know, no, we're not in danger. And again, sometimes we can be sitting down here and just thinking about something bad that could happen to us. And it's like we are living it because the nervous system doesn't differentiate between what's real or imaginary.
Yeah, I'm like right now, as you say that, I'm thinking of my mother. So I just got a call from her today. She called me up and said I was in the emergency room. And the reason she went was because she's actually got a muscle, like a spasm, like a muscle tensed because she's been so anxious. And we actually talked a little bit about this. Now I'm going to have to call her up after this episode and be like, hey, mom, maybe you should start tapping and just, get her in that because she's someone that, and mom, if you're listening, I love you. She does have high anxiety. She always thinks like something is going to happen. She's planning 40 years into her future instead of being right here. So I love what you're sharing because it's really a way to presence yourself right now in this moment. Get, look at the space you're in. Are you really in danger? Is something really going on? And able to self-regulate, which I think is one of the big things we don't do. Because as we talked earlier in this episode, well, I need a pill for that and a pill for that and a pill for that and a shot for that. And, what else can how many things in my, medicine cabinet do I now need to be taking for, something that potentially you could self-heal with? By the way, the doctors don't want me having this conversation with Lisa. They are like, shh, 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 don't say this, right? But you've turned,
Pharmaceutical companies too.
yeah, the pharmaceutical company, like, we don't want you talking about this. Like, this is all woo-woo. This stuff doesn't work. I will tell you, if we're coming up in these conversations, there's something you need to be curious about, right?
Yeah.
Because Elisa didn't come on here and just find this by like accident. She's been a practitioner. She's learned it for herself. And I think if women are starting to do this, there might be something for you that are listening. Try it for yourself.
Yeah, and one thing that I want to say is that I'm not against medicine, and I believe there are times where you need to
For
take your
sure.
medication.
For
Uh,
sure.
but what I believe is that medication is not the only solution. You
Mm,
have to do your work too and help your body
yeah.
heal because the medication it's there to help you with a symptom, but it's not really going to go to the root or what's going on. So if
Yeah.
you can combine the two things, that would be amazing. And one thing that really surprised me when I asked my doctor, okay, for how long do I have to take this medication? She's like, I don't know, as long as you would need it. Like I have patients that have taken it for forever. And it's like, she made it seem like it's so normal. And to me, that was like, really? So normal? Like everybody nowadays takes anti-anxiety and depression medication. Like, okay, but there are other ways. There has to be other ways.
Yeah. And I think you point to something where we've kind of normalized the suppression of our emotions, the suppression
Yes.
of, keeping things pushed down. And it's like putting a band-aid on a gushing wound, right? It's not going to really, it might be a temporary fix for a few short seconds, or whatever days, whatever, but it's not getting down to the root cause of what really is going on.
Correct.
So, and I think, for those that have listening to me and we've talked about this, we've brought on a lot of different modalities holistically because there's something for you to test. There's something for you to try. And with Elisa, I know first off, she's done the work herself, right? She's learned this, she shared with us, right? You've seen it in action, you've maybe tested it on yourself. And so, what's interesting is that you actually have like 5 techniques that women can do to de-stress while they're on the go. So like I know you're all sitting in your office, you're all super busy, you're all high achievers. So let's talk about this gift you're giving to our audience that they can just download and start practicing this themselves.
Okay, so for the next 5 days, once you download the program, you will receive on the first day, you will receive a video of how to tap. So you don't have to worry if you don't, if you don't really got it. There is a actual PDF where you
Okay.
can see all the points and like the recipe of how to do it, and then you have a video of me doing it with you. So that's the first one. And then there second day, I show you more points that you can tap. There are
Ooh.
discrete. So in case you're in a meeting or somewhere where you can't just be really tapping, you can still do it. And some other techniques too that you can use to help you regulate that are fast, easy to do. And yeah, I think it's a good way to start. You don't have to start big. The important thing is that you're consistent and you create a habit and you do
Okay.
it as many times as you can during the day.
Okay. So it is something that you kind of do throughout your day, not just once or like not just once a day, but you can be using this technique to self-regulate.
Yes.
And why would you want to do this throughout your day? Like, and once I do it once, don't I just self-regulate? Aren't I good for the next 6 hours?
I think it's just because we are exposed to so much nowadays with the news, with our culture, that it's always on a go, go, go. We're always like, our
Mm.
schedule is packed. Our time is like, we wish we had more hours in the day. So, I mean, it's important also to look at that. But at the same time, why not
Yeah.
regulate yourself during the day and take these like micro moments? So at the end of the day, it doesn't take you longer to unwind and to like, relax because you've been like going 1,000 miles per hour for so long that it takes longer for your nervous system to finally say, okay, now I can relax.
Yeah, and the longer you wait for that relaxation, the longer it's going to take to relax.
Exactly.
Right. So it's interesting because I did have a conversation earlier this week with a lady that does a lot. It's like it's almost like a stress, it's going after stress, burnout, those types of things. And I don't know if you know this, but the men, when the stress hormone is released, sits in the male body for 9 hours before that gets let go. Right. Now, for women, what do you think it is for women when they have a stress release? How long do you think it sits in our body?
It's probably the double.
24 hours. It's double plus what the men experience, right? It's
Yeah.
almost 3 times. Yeah, it's almost 3 times, right? 24 hours. So you got to remember, as women, we stress out about a lot of things. We stress out about the laundry. We stress out about the food we're making for dinner. How many of you guys have thought about dinner and it stresses you out? Then you're
Mhm.
making all the choices at work, right? And you're getting stressed during that. So these are all things that Elisa has pointed to that trigger your nervous system. So you can either sit in that space, or she's just shared with you, which I would recommend diving deeper into some of the tappings that can help you regulate this and minimize that time that you're in there, if not prevent you from going into those stress moments, which will save you hours of recovery, if not days of recovery from
And
that.
the other thing that I like to point out is that there has been a lot of research on this technique. And actually, they have tested people that actually they had one of the study was three groups of people. One, they were just doing regular talk therapy. The other, they just were reading magazine, and the other group they were doing tapping. The group that was doing tapping, they tested their cortisol levels by their saliva, and they saw a drop of 43% in their cortisol by just doing 1 hour of tapping. The people who were in talk therapy was probably like, if I remember correctly, like 14% decrease or even
Oh, and
lower.
I think talking would stretch me out even more sometimes,
Yeah, me
talking. So
too.
yeah.
And the people
Mm.
looking at the magazines, or it was something like very minimal. It didn't really change that much. So and they recreated they did
Study.
the study in different settings, and it still gave very high percentage of the how much the cortisol lower. And to the point that the researchers were like, no, no, we need to sample this again because there must be something wrong. We didn't take the sample correctly. So it's always interesting every time I go back to the study and read it because it's funny and it's, it's so simple, and if it gives you that type of benefits, why not,
Yeah. So, as you've designed your business, we've got a few more minutes here. So, you've created this process, you're coaching people around this. What has this been an easy business for you to get started? Has it been there been some a little bit of road bumps along the way? Because I know as women, it's like we get into this, we wanted to help more women. So, has the journey of building this business, like what's that been like for you?
It's been a journey. It's been a journey because it's been learning how to be, first of all, a business owner. It's
Mm,
something that doesn't really run in my family. I'm the first one. My family has always been in corporate jobs, traditional jobs, yeah, professionals. But of course, at the beginning, it was like, you're doing what? And you're having your own business? And you're doing like therapy work? But no, no, it's not really therapy work because I'm not a licensed therapist. So
right.
and a technique that is not that known. Like if you said, other things like I think people know more yoga than
Yeah.
than EFT tap.
Meditation, things like
Yeah.
that. That's yeah.
So it's been in that regards, it's been um, an interesting journey educating people, talking to a lot of people, networking, putting myself out there. So it's not only like, oh, now I know this cool technique and I get to practice it. It's like, okay, how can I uh, put it out there for people to try it and trust it. So that's been, I think, probably, I wouldn't say the challenge, but it's been a learning curve and experience for me. And it more than the technique, I think the message is it's your body who's really doing this for you, but we always need something to, in a way, help us prove, oh, this is what helped me. But it's the intelligence of the body is so wise that, yeah, I think it's trusting that and that we have a lot of our own answers.
Yeah. What was some of the in learning to put together your pricing package to like to coach this and stuff like that, what were some of your concerns? What were some of the things that you kind of learned in how to price your packages for offering your service?
Well, I'm still learning.
Hey, see, I love it. Okay, perfect.
I'm
Okay.
still learning. I do have private sessions, and at the beginning, I decided that I didn't want to do just one session because
Mhm.
I need that commitment from the client to at least commit to 4 sessions to see what can happen in those 4 sessions and see their progress. So that was like the first thing that I decided to do, and also based on the advice of my mentor and what I've seen out there. So working in packages has really worked for me and my client just to see that level and also to commit to their work. And for corporate, it's different because it's based on their wellness programs and what they want to bring in. That's something that I would like to get more of, and that's one of my goals for this year and next year to get more of those opportunities. I first wanted to really get involved with one-on-ones to see, make sure that I got this out there, tested and trusted, and now yeah, I think bringing it to corporate, I would love to see this as part of, again, daily practices, not only wellness programs, but really part of their strategy. And it doesn't matter if you're a small corporation, I mean, if you are a small business, I think everybody deserves to have this type of practices, and everybody should, yeah, have access to them.
Yeah, because it really is something that in the overall health of being a being, a body on this planet, as something that, male or female, that this is something that the self-regulating, the self-responsibility, right? Because this wasn't done to you. And I think that's one of the things we look at is though this was done to me. My business did this to me, my job did this to me. But it's also part of that is your reaction to what's being or your outside resources. So I think when you talk about self-regulation, that's taking responsibility for how you're reacting or what's coming up for you. And so when you do the tapping and you get that incorporated, and then you're starting to own your feelings and you're starting to find out how that feels in your body. And I think that's one of the most interesting things is as we go through this, and especially bringing it into the corporate world where they're so driven by numbers and the bottom line that yet at the same time it's people that are helping that become your reality. So how are you taking care of the people in your organization and giving them I not the word I don't think is coping mechanisms, but techniques and tools that can help them, improve their overall life and quality because then they become better and more aware of their business. They're what they're putting into the world.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I think the corporate so packaging you've learned to do in bundles. Is there anything else that you wish you had kind of learned ahead of time or some things you're still learning in this journey about building your own business?
Marketing has been a big one for me. And I've been learning by myself. Well, of course, I've learned from others, not only by myself. But that's been a big one to learn how to position myself out there, how to prepare my message. What is it that I really want people to know about me and what I do? And not necessarily all about me, but how can this practice these different techniques can support them, and how are they different from other practices that may be available. And it's always learning how to do it better and better, and also understanding the type of client that I want to attract, and really knowing that client from A to Z.
Yeah, I think there is something when you can in your marketing message, and this is for all of our listeners here, when you speak to one person, I've said this throughout many years of coaching. I said when you speak to one person, you speak to many. When you speak to many, you speak to no one because it just gets lost. So really when you're looking at who do I want to serve, who is it the what type of the energy do you want to be surrounded by? Because I don't think it's so much the person or the demographic or an age group, but who's the energy you want to work with? Do you want to, work with somebody that is, super open to what you have to offer, or do you want to work with somebody that you've got to convince that this works for you, right? Which is a harder sell overall because then you're trying to change somebody's mindset when I think it's easier to slip into the story or the belief of where they're already at. So it's not so much of trying to align with somebody else. The question is, who do you want to work with? Somebody that's open to this idea, somebody that might have heard about it in whispers and things like that, that is, looking for something different. I think that starts kind of playing into your marketing because you'll start speaking to that person. You'll actually create content speaking to a individual because you feel that's the energetic of the person you want to be around.
Exactly.
Something
Yeah.
to think about. All right. Well, I love this. So for those of you that are listening in the audience, there were many moments that Elisa was like, holy crap, she said something. Did she really say that? Absolutely. There were some great nuggets in here that I want you to go back and just listen to this again. Make sure you grab the download in the show notes. Follow her. Her social media is going to be in there too. So connect with her, follow her, see where she's at. And if she makes sense and somebody reach out to her, right? That's part of the thing is you just never know who you need to connect with. And I'm almost positive there's somebody that's listening right now that says, I'm curious. Can I learn some more? So, thank you so much for just being here, being so open, so transparent, so lit up around this conversation and really addressing the key elements of burnout, some of the hidden triggers, things that we can be aware of to help us, notice when burnout is going to be happening, and then giving us even some basic techniques that we can start today to help regulate our nervous system. So you have been incredible on today's episode of Did She Really Say That? So thank you for being a guest with us.
Thank you so much, Katrina, for this opportunity and for this space. I really love talking to you and your audience.
All right, we'll see you again. Everybody that's listening in, if you got value from this, give us a comment, give us a 5-star rating, and we'll see you on the next episode.